Ladies and gentlemen, just under 10 minutes until we are underway with our final class of the day. Here at Rugby Class 8, it will be the CSI4 style World Cup competition class. Competition over 2 rounds. Height of the fences will be 1 meter 55, speed required 375 meters per minute. The length of the course is 525 meters. The time allowed is 84 seconds. There are 13 obstacles and 16 minutes. And 5 minutes to go. Well, as you may have mentioned on the screen, we'll take you to an animated walkthrough of the course.
أعزائنا الحضور الكرام، ندعوكم للاستمتاع بالشوط رقم 8 والمنافسة الأخيرة ليوم الجمعة من كرة القفز السعودية. شوط منزل و 55 سنتيمتر. إذا نزل 51 سنتيمتر وجولتين لهذا الشوط، الجولة الأولى في 13 وحارس و16 جولة لقصر سنة 84 ثانية، وعلينا في الجولة الأولى 16 فارس و11 جولة و23 في شوط رقم 8. 7 دقائق حسام العزام، 7 دقائق لإطلاق فعاليات الجولة الأولى. رقم 8 في التصنيف العالمي 4 نجوم.
So then very soon we're going to take you to a wonderfully produced animation of our Peter Schumacher designed course here this evening. It will be up on the screen, so we'll be talking you through what the riders will be facing in just over 5 minutes time here for this CSI4 Star World Cup competition class. So ladies and gentlemen, here on the screen just in front of you, we will be having the animation of this hospitality. They start with a double hold to the right-handed rein, head in towards the upright fence two at the bottom end of the course.
Thank you very
Then
much.
they've got quite a long right-handed turn, but they need to line themselves up. Probably for the first time today, they'll face a wall. That's the big fence as they head then on the left-handed rein towards the officer as they head back towards the start gate. Then they're coming away from the gate again. It's a really sharp turn where they head over and upright and then over fence six.
Test 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Underneath it just to give the horses some attention. Then straight ahead, slightly left over the officer at 7. Then they have to come around the ball. Possibly not come around the top of fence 2, but they line themselves up for that big upright green, blue and white fence. Straight ahead for them then, where they have a combination of fences at 9A, 9B. Then it's on to that right.
Hello and welcome to Riyadh, the vibrant and dynamic capital of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, for the 4th edition of Jump Saudi, the annual year-end Saudi Jumping Championships. Incorporating, as it has done since the first year, the opening leg of the FEI Jumping World Cup Arab League and this the Middle East Sub-League. Lovely warm evening here for us at Jump Saudi as we prepare for our first meter 55 class of the week and our first of 2 highlights this week as well, this World Cup qualifier that will start to add to the points picked up by the riders at that Morocco Royal Tour Series, and see which riders will be going to represent this region at the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Finals in Basel in Switzerland. Abdullah Al-Shabatli already on the leaderboard at the moment, sitting 4th on the point standings, but alongside the regional riders we also have riders from 24 different nations contesting this weekend's Jump Saudi first week. 4-star week this week, 5-star next week. Billy Toomey, multiple 5-star Grand Prix winner. David Ville, multiple 5-star Grand Prix winner and Saudi team manager, ranked amongst the field of stars we're going to see here over the course of these 2 weeks of jumping in the Saudi capital. As I say, one of the first highlights of the fortnight of jumping here, and it's an interesting schedule with these 2 peaks. Grand Prix on Saturday night still to come, but it is World Cup qualifier on Friday night each week here at Jump Saudi. And whilst it is not going to score points for our Western European riders with us, it is very, very important for the regional riders on their road to the finals in Basel. And of course, it was with great excitement that this country, this city, held the first ever Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Finals and FEI Dressage World Cup Finals in the country and the region this spring. Well, let's have a look at what Peter Schumacher has set out for them. He's using a fence right in front of the VIP. It was quite an influential spot in the ring last night, but he's given them a long approach to it. A vertical at the top of the ring, number 2, and that's already meter 55 before he swings them now onto the long diagonal to take on a wall. And it's the first time the wall has been in the arena, and he sets it up quite early. Left-hand bending line then straight into the in-gate arch for number 4, the Saudi Olympic Committee. Then carrying on around to the left, then they've got this line of white rails on a related distance, about 23 meters up there to the Diriyah doors with the water tray underneath. It's quite a skinny oxer here. It measures at meter 10 wide, that door fence at the top of the course, before coming around then to the vertical at number 8. From here, it is down into the combination, a double 9A, 9B of Saudi equestrian events, and that is going to be meter 55 coming out of the vertical at the second part of that. Still thinking about home now as they push up, again pushing away from the in-gate up right towards the light pylon in the corner of the ring. This is a line that was problematic earlier on in the lower class, triple bar up to dark green Saudi equestrian events, jump Saudi fence there with the horizontal yellow stripes. Triple combination comes late on our World Cup course. It's a 2-stride, 1-stride, vertical, oxa challenge, and then one final bending line to the last, a full metre-55 fence with the grey and white checkerboard pattern to the rails and the water tray sitting out behind the plane of the jump. Peter Schumacher there, the top course designer from Germany, setting our tracks this week, and he has set this one with a time allowed in the first round of 84 seconds. It is a 2-round competition. So in that second round, you can see shorter, 8 obstacles, 9 efforts. We can tell you more about that. First of all, they've got to answer the question of the first round. Now, it's 25% comeback. We've got 16 on the start list, so that is 4. If we have more than 4 clear rounds, all the clears come back. We've got a half-an-hour break to allow them to reset, because they'll come back in reverse order of quality of qualification as well. Looking at our starting list, we start with Olympian Ioli Mitilenu, who was in good form yesterday. Kamal Abdullah Bahamdan goes early. Christian Almond, Gerfried Puck, Gaudiano, who has been a winner here in the past and won on the opening day in the Global Champions playoffs here in Riyadh as well. Billy Toomey, Marie Desmonts and Khaled Al-Mobti. Khaled is lying second at the moment on the standings of the FEI jumping region. Sheikh Ali Jamal Nasser Al-Nuaimi is also right up there in the top 5. Ramzi Al-Dahami is the leader of the standings at the moment. Sergio Neutmann Jr., who went last in the metre 50 class yesterday for Brazil. David Ville, who was on the podium earlier on tonight. Abdullah Al-Shabatli lying 4th on the standings. Igor Skribek of Palestine. Ines Jolie, and then Ali Al-Kharafi of Kuwait finishes off the running order in round 1, and Ali sits 3rd for Kuwait on the World Cup standings so far this season. And of course, those are based on the points picked up in the North African events in the Moroccan Royal Tour over those 3 shows. This is the opening Middle Eastern Sub-League event. And after this week, of course, we go straight on into World Cup again next Friday night. At the slightly bigger, though, the meet 60 and 5-star level. After these 2 weeks in Riyadh, Alain in the UAE, Kuwait. There's a World Cup qualifier during the course of Doha Tour in Al Shakab in January. Abu Dhabi in the UAE plays host to leg 6 of the standings. Abu Dhabi leg 7 as well. Kuwait leg 8, and Doha Al Shakab in February during the course of Emir Sword will play host to leg 9, and rounding out the 10th and final leg of this sub-league at Sharjah in the UAE in mid-February. An important night for the regional riders, although it has to be said, Ramzi Al-Dahami hasn't done too badly so far. He's got quite a few points under his belt already from off the league with those Moroccan scores. But with 10 shows to ride here across the Middle Eastern Sub-League, there could be quite a dynamic winter season before we know who will go and represent this region at the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Finals. So 16 will take on the first round challenge. If they're clear, they're guaranteed to come back for the second round. If we have 4 or fewer clear rounds, it will come down to faults and time, basing the qualification for the second round here tonight. So unlike in Europe and North America, where they're straight jump-off classes, here in this league, they are these 2-round formats consistently across the 10 legs. Ioli Mitilenu is going to be our first to go. L'artiste Toxandre, her ride for the World Championships, European Championships, and again this summer at her Olympic debut in Paris, becoming a second-generation Olympian for Greece. very closely or on a big screen, you'll see secondary numbers besides some of the jumps, and that is due to the fact that the second round track is already laid out. There is not another course walk, so they have to have all of their planning done. The early jumps. The first just comes up nice and steady there. There's a lot to consider there as you jump towards the big screen. And the furthest end away from the in-gate, you're going to be considering the fact that the wall comes early. And when you think about Peter Schumacher's tactical decisions here from the design standpoint, putting the wall so very early, he goes up to meter 55 almost straight away as well. Fence 2 and 3, meter 55, and having the triple combination late on course. You have the Arabic carpets. That delicate white plank there, and another maximum height vertical. And manages that distance down to the Saudi double very, very well, showing their experience. Just throwing, and it's what it's set up to do, the triple bar, throwing them a little bit into the distance. The early just having to set up and balance all the way up to the Saudi fence. But of course, you know, the Saudi fence was problematic earlier on for maybe slightly more novice horses, but it's not necessarily a fence you want to be holding to. You'd like to be able to be a bit attacking at it. 79.09, no problem on the 84 seconds time allowed, and Nioli Metilenu starts us off with a clear round, and that means that we're guaranteed to see her in the second round under the format we run. It is 25% minimum of the starting field coming back, and all the clear. So as a clear round, we know we'll see Ioli again. Very, very nice start. I think everyone here will have been pleased to have a combination of the caliber of Ioli and L'artiste going first in this competition, and they certainly do a very good job getting it underway.
Steady everything.
Yeah.
Did sound like she just said steady everywhere, and you'd sort of say, looking at the time, you know, 79.09, about 5 seconds inside the time. I think it's relatively generously wheeled. I don't think that Peter Schumacher is out to make time a huge part of the competition here tonight. He's got a little bit to go in terms of intensity when he goes up to 5-star and meter 60 next week as well. So Christian Elman actually will be our next forward with Mandato van der Neerheide. Mandato's latest visit to the Kingdom, having jumped in the World Cup finals here with Christian this spring. Christian, interestingly, spending a little bit of the last few months jumping over the other side of the Atlantic, jumping a few shows to great success as well in Mexico. The German Olympian, part of so many great German team performances over his career. Multiple winner on the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix Series, as well as many of the rest of the world's major Grand Prix. Mandato just a tiny bit idle at that vertical. You could hear the clatter. And won't be the first to just stall a tiny bit in front of that wall. Mandato actually jumped the small tour class yesterday. Over the plank, coming down now to the double. It's quite interesting that, you know, you don't get a double ontle fence 9, you don't get the triple ontle fence 12 on this 13 fence track. see Christian working quite hard on the approach and turn to that fence, and he was just looking to get a little bit more bounce into Mandado. He was looking to get him up between the hand and leg, and he just couldn't quite get there. Mandado dived a little flat at that opening vertical going into the triple combination line. It means it's 4 faults and a steady time as well, 80.47. If it comes down to it, and we have fewer than 4 clear rounds, then Christian might pay the penalty for being that little bit steady across the ground and not find himself with a place in the second round. Notwithstanding, anyone who goes to the second round, they do carry forward faults as well. So 1 on 0, 1 on 4. The bright green coat of Gerfried Pook is with us in the ring now. Gerfried with his Olympic horse from Paris, Equitron Naxel. Sighting in on the first. I have to say that Gerfried's been a little bit 4-faultitis this week, and it's mostly been because his 2 top horses, Ornat and Naxel, have been absolutely on their toes. They look fresh as daisies, fit as fleas. And sometimes that's just turned into a little bit of exuberance from them rather than sitting, waiting and listening to Gerfried when he needs. Naxel recently in World Cup action in Europe, jumping the Longines FEI World Cup at Verona. He always thinks about time. He's such a naturally fast rider. He puts himself right over by the red flag on the right side, as short as possible. Roll back to the triple bar at 10. And this is where the control comes in. He is maybe touch far off that jump Saudi, but he knows that Naxel's got the scope, and if he's in the right part of the country, he can answer the question. Going to be a shade slower than Ioli, and that will be important when it comes to starting order in the second round, but he's in the second round. Gerfried Pook and Equitron Naxel are clear round number 2. As I say, it is going to be Ioli that little bit faster, so she will have the best of the draw. Coming back in reverse order of quality of qualification for the second round. Remember, a minimum of 4 places available in that second round, but looking like we might have it in excess of 4 clear rounds, and anyone who jumps clear gets to come back for the second round of jumping in this World Cup qualifier. So Emanuele Gaudiano, Chalou's Love PS is his ride tonight. So stepped in to one of the Global Champions League teams for the playoffs just recently. Actually took an individual win on day 1 of those playoffs here in Riyadh. This other horse that he has with us here at Jump Saudi, Nicolas de Musique. Chalou's Love just went steadily in the 2 phase yesterday, actually riding clear but time penalties in the first phase just to warm up. You saw there that the horse was very much concentrated on just something just a little bit right of his field of vision, and then clocked in on the fence and shifted left at the last moment and just hadn't got the focus to have had the front legs out of the way. Look at this. knowing that if he is the fastest four and there's a place available, he might make it into the second round. He really goes for it now. Gaudiano finds yet more gears. Gives the last part of that triple combination a thump, but it stays 73.48, so he's about 5 seconds faster than anyone else. Gaudiano goes into third at the moment on 4 faults, playing slightly the numbers game to see if we have fewer than 4 clear rounds, can he be the fastest four and make it back for round 2 and guarantee himself a decent share of the Longines World Ranking points and prize fund, which in tonight's competition is just under 165,000 euros, with 25% to the winner. But incredible to see those tactics play out there. As soon as Gaudiano had the rail, you saw him change up not 1 gear, 2 or 3 gears, and find an inside line as well, inside the blue doors there at the bottom of the ring, between 9 and 10. Well, Billy Toomey, with his Casal-bred chatbot ED. He rides for the Sue Davis Fund, co-owns alongside that wonderful owner across disciplines. Sue Davis, who had many great horses with Billy, as well as eventers with Mary King, and latterly now with eventing world champion Yasmin Ingham. Billy, like a lot of the riders, had this horse chatbot actually in the small class last night, and having jumped a nice clear in the opening phase, called it a day at that point. That was job done as far as Billy was concerned on day 1 of the show. And actually I think he's picked up a real nice balance here. This horse is jumping out of his skin, it's jumping great, but Billy has also picked up a really nice pace that should help him be competitive in terms of getting his starting spot. He just was a little sticky in over the AL. My goodness, he had to work hard there, B to C, and now puts it all back together, tidy as you like, over the last. Great riding there for Billy Toomey, 80.11. He is a tiny bit slower than Ioli Metulenu, but he is into the second round, as we say. If you're clear, you're in. And he is clear round number 3. Means that Gaudiano, his chance of making it through on that fast 4 gets slimmer and slimmer. We're not quite halfway through, and we already have 3 clear rounds.
Blue check, no, Francis. No blue check.
Just going back up the order, if you're following the start list at home, this is Kamal Abdullah Bahamdan. Kamal, who was second on the list, with Humphrey G, a Saudi Olympian member of the bronze medal winning team at the London Games. Also teaming up at this show with the Asian Games gold medal winning horse Cascadella Boy RM, ridden by one of his teammates in Zhangzhou at those Asian Games last year. Jumps the carpets again. I think it is the big screen. You get a sense that a lot of the horses are just getting up there with their eye just cocked a little bit right of centre. Fortunately, Humphrey didn't really read that plank out of the left-hand rollback turn right at all, so that has them on 4 faults. I say it's difficult to imagine anyone being faster on 4 faults than Gaudiano, so it probably means that Kamal Abdullah Bahamdan's night in this World Cup qualifier is over as soon as he had that rail. Grand Prix to play for, though, tomorrow night. And actually two great options as well. I saw an absolute flyer at the last there. The horse having a real drift to the right back towards the in-gate as well, so he did well to manage that and leave that big vertical standing. But a flashy finish to the round for Kamal Abdullah Bahamdan, but with 4 faults in 81 seconds. He's slower than Gaudiano, slower than Alman, going into 6th at the moment. So it's still Gaudiano, the only non-clear round with a chance of going through to round 2.
Billy, would you like to go for an interview? Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah.
A bit deep there.
Yeah.
Too close there.
Deep, I lost him.
Yeah.
Marie Demont comes forward to us, Marie, with Epona de Kenoy. Unlucky rail yesterday in the opening meter 50 world ranking class, with Epona saw them finish just outside the top 10. And Marie with a 4-star podium finish with us yesterday, and actually with another of her de Riverland horses runner-up in this afternoon's 2-star Grand Prix. Those 2-star Grand Prix, especially as it is here, a world ranking class, absolutely ferocious competition. Good jump off of about 8 of them here this afternoon. Saw Marie end up in the 2nd spot. Feeling good about the way our horses are going, especially, you know, coming into these night classes. We were saying one of the fantastic things about the winter series here in the region between Jump Saudi and some of the other tours here is the opportunity for horses to get to jump onto lights, not just the meter 50, meter 60 horses, but quite often there are competitions at the 4-star level, meter 35, meter 40. So you're getting that level of relationship and difficulty between the jumps at quite an achievable level, so the horse can concentrate on the atmosphere and the technicality without having to worry too much about the height. Already on the 0 score at the moment. Commentator's curse, just a little bit idle behind, but it's a very, very difficult turn. When you finish your turn and sight in on that triple combination, you are where you are, and sometimes you just find that you just can't do anything about the distance you're on, the spot you're on. And unfortunately there, Marie's Epona de Kenoy just catches the A element behind. And it's 4 faults in 79, some 6 seconds slower than Gaudiano, so Gaudiano holds on to his potential qualifying spot. And Marie Demont completes her World Cup challenge for Friday night, and now we'll go all in on tomorrow night's Grand Prix. So the rider who sits 2nd on the World Cup standings at the moment for Saudi Arabia, Khalid Al Mobti, riding his World Cup finals horse from Riyadh this spring. Space Cake. Khalid, an Olympian this summer in Paris. He just let the horse come back to him a stride or two, and then he said, no, we're going. Because he came really dynamic around the turn, and then just let the horse come back at him. And then he saw what he wanted, and he pushed for the first fence over the Saudi Olympic Committee. And this is quite a tough turn. The balance out of this turn is very important. And those white rails, they're skinny. They're shorter left to right than the other rails, so they're lighter. That's a shame. It's a fence that's looked like it could go a couple of times for various rider. Unfortunately for Al Mobti, it does. And again, the kind of pace Al Mobti has been riding, he almost certainly can't overtake Gaudiano. Gaudiano, remember, went inside at this moment. He went inside those blue doors to try and achieve a time that could potentially still push him into the second round. So you would say, even if he doesn't have another rail, Al Mobti's World Cup challenge here is gone. The points go down, though, because we're still going to have quite a small second round. So he still needs to be quite conscious of time in the first round so that he's high enough up the rankings to get a decent amount of points. The last down, unfortunately, so it's 8 faults in the first round for Khalid Al Mobti. And that, unfortunately, is going to go 8th of the 8 we see so far here in this World Cup qualifier. And that's the first of the regional leaders as well, the number 2 on the standings after the legs already in North Africa at the Morocco Royal Tour. Not a super start, unfortunately, for Al Mobti, but don't rule him out now. That could make him hungrier yet for tomorrow night's Grand Prix. So just look at that. You know, it's so interesting. We watch it in the live head-on and you just get the sense of horses maybe not focusing super on it. You see it from the side, you absolutely see that the technical reason he had it down, catching it behind, but it tells you such a different story. You don't get the sense of the horse's attention being distracted at all from that side view. So interesting to get those 2 different angles. So, our 3 clear rounds so far, and we know they're coming back. Ioli Mitilenu, Billy Toomey, Gerfried Puk, ranked according to time. Gaudiano's 4 faults in 73.48 is the one they're all targeting. But Marie Dermont and On down, they know they're not coming back. However, were we to have 4, 5 more clear rounds, they all come back. Every single clear round comes back in this competition for the Jump Saudi World Cup qualifier. And we are just taking a very short break in the midst of round 1. Let's remind ourselves of our clears so far. 3 of them, starting out with the Olympic combination for Greece of Ioli Mitilenu and L'artiste de Toxandria. They came in not super fast across the ground, however, still the fastest of the 3 clear rounds. So quite deceptive, this big horse as well, when you put it in those contexts. And look at this super spot from Ioli, a real talented rider, and one who, after her performance at the championships a couple of years ago, was the buzz the whole of the next spring. A man in great form winter after winter here in the region. Gerfried Puk, he was our second clear round with Equitron Naxel, again an Olympic combination from Paris this summer, and Gerfried posted a time of 80.43, slower, not terribly much slower, about 1.5 seconds, but Gerfried slower than Ioli, so it means that he will jump before her in round 2. But with the clear round, he knows he is back for round 2. And then our 3rd clear round came from Irish Olympian Billy Toomey. Billy and chatbot ED. They split the difference time-wise, coming in at 80.11. So they're second on the rankings so far. And it was a very, very nice round for Billy here. And as I say, watching it, you felt he picked up a really competitive pace to be right in the mix. But actually, it goes back to the deception of Ioli Mitilenu's horse, L'Artiste, that actually really was covering the ground. Big striding horse, clearly. Billy, his only probable moment was coming in at the A element of the triple combination. He did a beautiful job riding out the B and C to make it happen. And here, these moments where he really set up for the last jump to make it happen, to get the clear and get himself into the second round. So those are our 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Clears guaranteed to come back. And our next clear will close the door on anyone getting forward with faults to round 2. Well, already on the podium earlier on with his other horse, Killian. We welcome back to the ring here at Jump Saudi Sheikh Ali Jamal Nasser Al Nuaimi for the UAE. Sheikh Ali is another one of the top contenders on the World Cup standings, having jumped at those shows in Morocco. He sits top 5 on the standings, and his ride for this first regional World Cup qualifier Cobalt van der Bisschop. It's nice knowing you've got several legs of this series at home, including one right at his base in Sharjah, as well as some at Al Ain and Abu Dhabi. Of the 10 shows on the league, to pick up some useful points, having already been to Morocco, got points to come here to jump Saudi for 2 weeks and maybe pick up more points, could really help him into position to go to the World Cup finals. He's been to them before, jumped in Omaha, Nebraska back in 2023, the second time that venue in the Midwest of the United States held the World Cup finals. However, an early rail there, jumping again towards the big screen. I think the Arab carpets and number 2 are both very influenced by that big screen at the top of the ring. Nothing changed, it's been there all last night. We've been jumping. All of these 4-star classes have been very consistent in their conditions. They have been in true dark. The sun goes down here between about 5 and 6, and we've been jumping the 4 stars no earlier than 7 p.m. So sitting on the 2 down, having had the back rail off the Saudi Olympic fence as well. Sheikh Ali won't be picking up masses of World Cup points here, unfortunately, in week 1 of Jump Saudi. There's also just that question of getting in the groove. You're understanding the way your horse reacts to the conditions, reacts to the show, answers the question set by Peter Schumacher as well. And that's quite nice that Peter will be the designer for the 2 weeks, so they can all progress together hand in hand. Athletes, designer, just ran out of space there. He's going very forward. I think Sheikh Ali felt, you know, the best thing to do was to try and get this horse really motoring, really pushing for him, but that distance ran out for them, unfortunately, at the C element. So it is a grand total of 12, and that's going to put him behind Khalid Al-Mobti on the leaderboard, and as we say, means that there will be no second round, unfortunately, for UAE rider Sheikh Ali Jamal Nasser Al-Nuaimi. Here is that very, very first one. Meter 55, and then from the wall down to the Saudi Olympic Committee fence. There, about 3 strides out, you get that shake of the head where they just lost agreement and lost rhythm coming down to that first pretty big oxer. You jump quite an inviting ramping oxer, 2 meter 55 verticals when you count number 2, which they had down in the wall, and then you come to probably his first chunky true test oxer, going right towards the in-gate at 4. So the many-time Olympic hero for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Ramzi Al Dahami, the current leader of the World Cup standings for the region. So that is on 43 points. That's quite a good tally to be on before the shows in your region even get going, having picked them up off league. Ramzi's addressee here tonight jumped for a top 10 yesterday in the world ranking class. Just the single rail down. As we know, clear in round 1 tonight guarantees a place in round 2. Only 3 people have done that so far. And in terms of riders who could pick up World Cup points, nobody yet. Ramzi very, very conscious of wanting to be on a competitive time. He's not going to dare go inside the way Gaudiano went between 9 and 10, but you saw his head and eyes clocking over all the time to make sure he wasn't wasting an inch on his long rollback turn past the in-gate. Yeah, horse landed and just scuttled quite low down between A and B. Ramzi did a great job getting the horse back up into his hand through the triple combination, and that is brilliant, because not only is it clear, it means nothing but a clear goes through to the second round, because it's clear round number 4, and in terms of time, he is those fractions of a second faster than Yoli Metelenu. Ramzi Al Dahami at the moment jumps last in round 2. Best so far Very, very nicely done for the multiple Saudi Olympian, including this summer in Paris. Look at that. When you get that other angle, you see exactly how much he touched that blue rail up at number 2, though, pushed it right to the edge of the cups. Well, that's a very good result for the man, chasing World Cup points and hoping to consolidate his position at the head of the regional standings at the moment. Ramzi Al Dahami, the best of what is now 4 clear rounds. We go to Brazil, Sergio Neutmann Jr. and Carina Blue. Sergio, who wrapped up competition here on day 1 of the show yesterday. Top 5 with a clear round with Carina Blue in that world ranking class. Again, a little bit like Billy Toomey, you've got a rider who's just picked up a very, very competitive and active pace. And it's one that his horse looks and feels very, very comfortable in. Just saw the horse come back at him a tiny bit in over that oxer. The Saudi Equestrian Events double. Just a moment of keeping the horse on line there after the triple bar as well, going up to the jump Saudi fence. You know, there's plenty going on here that Sergio is managing and controlling and doing a great job on as well. And time-wise, 0.15 faster, Sergio Neutmann Jr. And Carina Blue, after a top 5 yesterday, goes into the second round tonight, the 5th to do so, as we bring forward guaranteed all of the clears. As we say, Ramzi Al Dahami closed the door on anyone with faults coming back, and that means that Gaudiano, no matter how fast he was with Chalu's Love, his night is over in terms of the World Cup here at Jump Saudi. And Sergio Neutmann Jr. puts himself in the driving seat for round 2 with our fastest clear so far of what is now 5 clear rounds. Sergio Neutmann for Brazil, Ramzi Al Dahami, Saudi Arabia, Iroli Metilenu, Billy Toomey, Gerfried Puck, Greece, Ireland, Austria, all from the first half of the draw. So David Ville challenges on. He has his President's Cup winner, Zinedream. Came very close to a good result last night with Zinedream, unfortunately denied at the last fence on course. He had a nice podium result with the younger Dia Show earlier on here today as well. David, who through his relationship with the Saudi team, I think he was saying he's involved in some way or another with a show here in the region every week until the end of February. I guess the horse really focused in about 3 strides away from that Arab carpets fence. There's a plank. Zinedream just loves to throw the head for a moment or two after each jump. David gets out of his way for those seconds and then says, come up, listen to me, look at this. Makes nothing of going the inside line. David not only wants to be in the second round, he wants to go last in it. That'll throw down the gauntlet to the man who's just entered the ring as well. Al Shabatli will have seen his team manager do that and go, I might have a bit of that action. Clear so far, and 78.51 to beat David Ville and Zinedream, 5-star Grand Prix winners this spring in the UAE. 79.07, it is so close, it's half a second in it, covering Sergio Neutmann, Ramzi Al Dahami and David Ville. Now, interestingly, Davidville goes inside from 9 to 10, and he's still that tiny bit down on the Brazilian and Saudi time of Sergio Neutmann and Ramzi El-Dahami. So Davidville is qualified for round 2. He is going to be 3rd on the ranking at the moment. It is still Gerfried Puk on our ranking so far, who would be the first rider to come back, posting the slowest clear so far, but they are all incredibly close. The time difference between Sergio, the fastest, and Gerfried, the slowest, is less than 2 seconds. So sitting in quite a close 4th place on the rankings at the moment of the World Cup League, Abdullah Al-Shabatli, Berkman's Lord Petsy Jr. Runner-up yesterday in the two-phase competition. He said that probably the target for this horse this week was going to be this World Cup, but with both of his horses, Petsy and Fumicino, going well, and he really does have an abundance of choice for tomorrow's Grand Prix as well. He gets the smoother ride from this horse as well. You see that actually no, it's the other way around. Fumicino went really smooth for him last night. This horse was just a touch unsettled when he would ask for the little bit of pressure to just try and make sure of the time. They're much more in sync tonight. Okay, no, he's not going to go the inside line that Davidville did. He doesn't waste too much time about it. He really moves around that corner. See Petsy, that as he gathers up the reins and just asks for a little bit of control and contact, Petsy just shakes the body. Does a nice job just shifting out through his seat and saddle a little bit to the right, and it's 0.7 faster. Abdullah Al-Shabatli, Bookman's Lord Petsy Jr., 77.81. Again, it is incredibly close on time, but Abdullah Al-Shabatli is now the leader and going through to round 2, guaranteed by his clear round. We are up to 7 clears here tonight in round 1 of the FEI Jumping World Cup qualifier. So 7 clears, 4 of them coming since the break, and importantly 2 of them for regional riders as well, to try and maximise their point scoring on the World Cup standings. 3 more riders to see. Egor Skribrik of Palestine. Egor was a 2023 rider on the panel of the prestigious Young Riders Academy. So he rode for Palestine twice at juniors, twice at young rider level. The Young Riders Academy celebrated their 10th anniversary just recently with a fantastic event in Venice at the Fenice Theatre. Egor, of course, knows just as well as we do that as soon as he had the rail down at fence 2, he wasn't going to make it into round 2. But again, there are only 2 riders from the region currently represented in round 2. So in terms of World Cup points, it's still worth trying, because if you can be up the order in round 1, you'll still maximise your points take tonight, and 2 shows back-to-back as well, where you can really get a World Cup campaign off to a strong start. That's not slow, 77.81. Abdullah Al-Shabatli, 77.80. Ego, that little bit faster. Gaudiano's in a different country. He's still about 4 seconds faster than Ego for 8th position, but into a very, very positive 9th for Ego Skribrek there, and Emir Demont Akur. And just looking down from the big screen side. Yeah, the horse just actually looks, you see it in both of those angles. When you know from the side that you're looking at, you can see the horse's nose just tuck under and look at that top rail at the last moment. So who else makes it through? 7 currently on the start list for round 2. We have 1 more European rider, 1 more regional rider to go here in round 1. Ines Joly and Ambassador Z. Ambassador was Ines's ride for the Longines Global Champions Tour Super Grand Prix. And quite interesting, she just uses the blue doors fence as a little bit of a handrail rather than coming all the way down to the end gate. She just stays those 10 or 12 foot further into the ring to get a nice swing up to fence 1. Again, you just don't know whether that's just being a little bit conscious of not letting the horse have a true feel of where the in-gate is, not letting it fall back towards that, keeping its brain really engaged and focused on the job at hand. And moves up there very, very positively to the Daraya fence. See the 2 little water trays, round water trays under it as well. I'm actually surprised that's only gone the once, that plank. It's quite a formidable jump when you come out of that blind corner through the left shoulder. Oof. Horse came back to it just enough. You saw him ever so slightly tiptoe up the front rail of that jump Saudi fence. She needed him back and she got it. Unfortunately, just that tiny bit flat, reaching for the back rail, and has the last 2, unfortunately, for good measure, for bad measure. 8 faults for Ines on a round that had been so good until the last 2 fences, but the last 2 down for Ines Joly and Ambassador means it is still 7 going back for round 2, and it is now down to the regional rider from Kuwait, the Asian Games rider, to see whether he can make it 8 in the second round and 3 for the region. Yeah, again, it looks a lot more dramatic when you see that in the live pictures. It just looked like he'd ever so slightly touched it, and there, the first of 2 in quick succession down the back rail. We see, looking down from the top of the ring, a plumb boot out of the top rail, it must be said. But again, you know, thinking about the ranking being done on faults and time in the first round. So when she had the rail at the triple, I think she thought, I'll throw everything at the wall, because if I can get home fast, it could be worth a place or 2, because the times are stacked up so close. Well, the combination that finished just off the team podium as part of the Kuwaiti team at the Hangzhou Asian Games, Ali Al-Kharafi and I. I actually won the 2-star Grand Prix during the Global Champions playoffs here in Riyadh a couple of weeks ago. Very competitive partnership. It'd be a good one to have in the second round. It could have lit up that second round to have the Q80 Challenger in there. Unfortunately, it won't be. Time of 81.45 with the 4-4. Going to put Ali Karafi into 12th position, meaning that Ego Skribrik is the best of those not going forward in 9th for Palestine. And in terms of regional riders, we've got Abdullah Al-Shabatli and Ramzi Al-Dahami ranking amongst the 7 riders who will come back for round 2 here in the World Cup at Jump Saudi. So we know our 7 contenders for round 2. We are going to go into a pause here. We've got 30 minutes before we start jumping again. They'll move some of the fences. The second round has been laid out there. They have walked it, so we don't have to do that. We just have to let the riders reset their horses and get used to the new starting order as well for round 2 here of the World Cup qualifier. And our clears will come back in reverse order of merit. So Shabatli will actually jump last. Sergio Neutmann just before him, Ramzi Al-Dahami, and remember Ramzi and Abdullah, for them, it's a really important night in terms of points. David Wild, Ioli Metilenu, Billy Tooney, Geoffrey Pook, and then taking points and prize money for 8th, Gaudiano, Ego Skribrik, taking World Cup points for 9th, Maria Demont and Epone de Kenoy in 10th with the 4 faults. 4 faults, look at this, in 11th, in 12th, in 13th, and the time. Look, 300ths there between Ali Al-Karafi and Kamal Abdullah Bahamdan. Khalid Al-Mobti and Space Cake are disappointed by their 8 faults. Ines Jolie, 8 faults, disappointing for her too. And Sheikh Ali Jamal Nasser Al-Noemi hoping to have capitalised on the good start he got to the World Cup season in Morocco. Can't really make it stick today with 12 faults total in round 1. So, round 1 is concluded, but the sport not yet done. Rejoin us in a few minutes' time as we get ready for a 7-strong round 2 for the first regional World Cup qualifier of the season here from Jump Saudi.
What's going on, man? The freestyle official, dude.
Hello and welcome back to Riyadh, where we are in the midst of our FEI Jumping World Cup qualifier, the first in the region this year. Valuable World Cup points on offer as we expect a second round of 7 horses and riders qualifying with clears. In fact, we understand during the break that Billy Toomey has elected not to jump the second round, with Chatbot maybe keeping his powder dry for tomorrow night's Grand Prix here at the Riyadh Jump Saudi Arena, and therefore it will be 6 that we see in a few moments' time taking on Peter Schumacher's shortened second round course. A little bit windy this evening, as you can see from the flags just all being strewn out here. The flags of 24 different nations flying over the Jump Saudi Arena as well, and still a very, very nice 21 degrees Celsius. I hate to say this to the people that feeling the storms in the winter in Europe, but it feels cold here at 21 after the lovely December weather we've been having here so far. So in round 1, it was a man who's always in great form here in the region, Gerfried Puk, who gave us one of our first clear rounds. Gerfried, the Austrian championship medalist, and his Olympic horse Equitron Naxel were clear. Emanuele Gaudiano for Italy then. The format was that there were a minimum of 4 places available, and Gaudiano had this rail and then he moved. My goodness, did he move. He found inside lines, he delivered such a fast 4/4, and for a long time it looked like it might be enough to put him through. But then, after the short break, we got clear after clear after clear, not least this one, the first of 2 clears for the region. Ramzi El Dahami will ride in the second round with a dressé. Ramzi, the current leader of the World Cup standings after the points picked up off league in Morocco in the late summer. Abdullah Al-Shamatli, Olympic medalist, World Championship medalist and reigning Asian Games champion. His horse, Bockman's Lord Petsy Jr., was also clear, making it 2 for the home side in the second round. So to say, the athletes had an opportunity to walk this second round track as part of their initial inspection at the beginning of the evening. And they'll have been looking, though, closely to see what has been taken out so that the lines have opened up. So this is what was the last fence. Back rail, the water tray taken away. They push up then to the Diriyah doors over on the far side of the ring. The water trays still underneath that one, both still sitting there. Looking like a tight turn then, back inside, coming down to the double 9A, 9B. Now this is a line we saw Gaudiano and Davidville ride inside really all of these fences. Between the Saudi and the last, that bush doesn't actually exist, so there is a closer line up to what was the triple bar, now built as an oxer up to Jump Saudi with the yellow horizontal stripes. From there, they turn very tight left-handed back on themselves to a big vertical. It's the vertical that was alongside the white plank, standing full metre 55. Down to the end of the ring to jump the Saudi Olympic Committee oxer, the fence that points right at the in-gate arch, and then it's a swing around and a long, daring gallop up in front of the VIP to the fence in the position of what was the first. It's built as a vertical now, so we call it number 17 as it's a different shape, and that is a long way to go for the last on this course, and those who go all out at that last could easily take it out at the roots. Peter Schumacher sets a very interesting challenge here, and you know, it's so different. Of course it has that jump off feel because it's turns, it's time, but it feels very much like a second round. They have to be tactical, they have to be careful. 64 seconds will be the time allowed, but again, you don't expect that to come too much into play. And as we say, 7 qualified, 6 will start. Billy Toomey will withdraw before the start of the second round and will get points and position for 7th here in tonight's big competition. As I say, one of 2 focal points in the schedule each week here at Jump Saudi. The World Cup qualifier on Friday night, and then Saturday night is the Grand Prix night here, and it's 4-star this week, 5-star next week in Riyadh. So the start list is based on faults in time from the first round, so it all comes into time for these guys. It's Puk, Mitilenu, Davidville, Ramzi El Dahami, Sergio Neutmann for Brazil, and then last to go will be Abdullah Al-Shabatli and Bockman's Lord Petsy Jr. riding for the win. And as I say, 2 of our riders here already well up the rankings of the regional World Cup standings. For our European riders, no points to be accrued here tonight, but we welcome forward a rider who's already been in Western European League World Cup action this year. That was recently at Fiercavalli in Verona in northern Italy. It is Gerfried Puk with his Olympic partner Equitron Naxel. Gerfried would have liked to have maybe been a bit further up the list, maybe seen one or two go before him. As it is, he's going to be the one proving some of these lines and turns. He's always interesting to watch in these high-pressure situations, though. I mean, he knows to a T, I think, what 45 seconds really feels like. He takes a lot of time, just looks and plans what the course looks like, and this, I wonder how many will follow him on that approach to the first on course. Flashes across the other side of the ring. Naxel just throwing the head that tiny bit. Makes that feel very easy getting back inside, but it's such a tight turn to that then that this turn here that looked quite easy for Gaudiano and Davidville earlier on was, you know, it felt like it came up a bit tight, having had a tight approach into the double to make another tight turn immediately afterwards. It's about 32, 33 seconds there at the top of the ring. Jumps to the Saudi fence and heads on to the last on course to make it double clear. What standard does he set, though? He lets discretion be the better part of valor. You saw him sitting back, sitting up, balancing a couple of strides to the last. If anyone could be a tiny bit more daring, they could overtake him, but Gerfried Puk can do no more. 46.59 with a double clear over Peter Schumacher's track here tonight for the World Cup qualifier, and Austria becomes the one to beat. That is just the moment there where he might have left something for the others. If somebody can just be a bit more forward and flowing to the last, they could beat him by fractions. But I think he was pretty prompt everywhere else. Gerfried Puk showing why he has been so successful over the last few seasons with the string of horses he now has. And from an Olympic combination in Paris this summer for Austria to one for Greece, Ioli Mitilenu, Latista Toxandria. Now she is going to take what we consider the more classic approach to number one, as approach to coming in off the right rein, as Gerfried did. But there's method in Gerfried's madness as well, because you get that sense of the horses find it easier to change direction over the fence. So to go right to then left approach between the first two fences does make sense. She's within a second of Gerfried's time. We were watching this one last time for him, 31, 32 seconds. She's perhaps a little bit down. So the eye agrees with the split. What can she do on the way home, though? It could all change here. As I said, they didn't look like they were flashing around this course earlier on, but they were doing very well time-wise. And yeah, look at that. Because she just has the confidence to keep going, she beats Puk by about a quarter of a second. 0.27 up for Ioli Mitilenu and Latista Toxandria. 46.32. It feels like, just like in the first round, these scores, these times could just be stacked so close together. A quarter of a second in it at the moment. It's coming off that inside turn back to what was the triple bar, up to the jump side defense. You say what the younger horses were finding was going right at that light pylon in the corner of the ring for that jump sidey, but it's jumped really well for the world ranking horses. Great size arena here at Jump Saudi as well. A lot of thought was put into making this permanent venue here on the edge of the race course that hosts the Saudi World Cup. Now look at this, look at the angle, the Davidville puts on with Zinedine, President's Cup winner at the UAE's Longines League of Nations meeting last spring. Loses the balance there, loses traction a tiny bit. Such is the turn he wants to make. Now, he's already made this turn once before. He did it in the first round. But he is super close up to number 15. He knows as an oxer he can maybe be a bit more daring than he would have been with it as a triple bar. Over the jump side. Back, coming home. He is 31 or so seconds there. So we feel he's up. Can he carry this pace all the way home? Ioli Mitilenis, 46.32 to beat. 1 to go for David Will to move into the lead. 44.23, he makes a big difference. 2.1 seconds faster for David Will. That's quite often the nature, though, of this coming back in reverse order of quality of qualification. They get faster and faster. The lead changes round by round, and David Will is now our leader here with the pressure all on. The last 3 to go. That is competitive. 44.23. Gerfried's 46.59 is not to be sneezed at. Ioli was that little bit faster. David is considerably faster. 2 seconds in this company is a big, big difference.
No, come on. Okay, thank you. Not fast enough.
He says not fast enough. He would know well what certainly 2 of the guys coming have yet to do. First of them, Ramzi Al Dahami and Adressi. Just lets the horse travel a little bit left, starting the turn over the Daraya fence. Being very positive, just getting the horse right out in front of him. Half a second in it really is nothing. It could go one way or the other depending on whether the clock is on the tick or the tock as he gets home. Ramsey, the current leader of the series, could pick up a lot of World Cup points here today. What an absolutely beautiful shot at the last. He deserves to be that 2/3 of a second faster. That was class all the way there for Ramzi Al Dahami. So the margins, we went from 1/4 of a second, then we suddenly had a 2-second gap, and now we're 2/3 of a second. We're back into fractions, but 2/3 of a second is still good. We have 2 more, 1 for Brazil, 1 for Saudi Arabia, but Ramzi Al Dahami is the one to beat on 43.56. And that is almost, in fact, it's just a shade over, 3 full seconds faster than Gerfried Puck and his Olympic horse, Equitron Naxel. So Sergio Neutmann and Karina Blue went well here with us last night at the opening Longines World Ranking class. Doesn't get this inside turn. Nobody's had a fault here, so you know, when you do trade away that little bit of time and space. So he's 4 seconds down, incredibly, by the time he got to the check. And then, even though the horse has ridden the line before, just for some reason he took against that jump Saudi fence in the way that we'd seen quite a bit in the meter 40 class earlier on. And that means that the cracking news for the home side is that there is guaranteed to be a Saudi winner of the first regional World Cup qualifier. Is it going to be Olympian Ramzi Al Dahami, or is it going to be Olympian Abdullah Al Shabatli? So Sergio Neutmann, 4 faults at 54.93, goes 5th at the moment with 1 more to show on tonight's FEI Jumping World Cup qualifier here at Jump Saudi. As we just watch a replay again of the horse, just not really getting the spot at all at that Jump Saudi fence up the line. It's the leader, Ramzi Al Dahami, waiting to see what it goes. Here's the challenger, Abdullah Al-Shabatli, Berkman's Lord Petsy Jr. It's the 7th and final clear round in round 1, and the fastest of them getting the right to be the final rider in this round 2. He's going to go for much what David Ville did, putting a bit of angle there. Whether Petsy was quite with him, quite understood what was going on. He was caught a little bit unawares by number 1. Certainly right in sync with Shabatli now. My goodness, he's brave through there. Watching the time, 1 1/4 seconds up on Ramzi Al Dahami. If he carries on this pace, can't waste time like that. That wastes a fraction of a second. Oh, come on, Petsy. Abdullah Shabatli heading for home. The time to beat 43.56. Unfortunately, it's got away from him. 45.47. Into 3rd place, David Ville will be 2nd. Ramzi Al Dahami will take victory tonight. There is our 1-2. Our number 3 is still in the ring at the moment. Abdullah Al-Shabatli. A very, very good podium for the Saudi Arabian Equestrian Federation, mind you, at Jump Saudi in the first of 2 weeks of World Cup jumping. Abdullah, who won the big class, the Longines World Ranking class here last night, and has very rarely missed a podium all weekend, will take 3rd here tonight with Petsy. I say he's just putting the relationship with this horse together and just about finding a way that the horse doesn't react when Abdullah needs to make those corrections, either holding him or pushing him. You sometimes just get Petsy just throwing and twisting through the body. And that unfortunately cost them tonight. As Petsy just said, no. He was so good in comparison to last night in the first round tonight. You could see that they'd really just gone away, found out a little bit more about each other. There is your winner, Ramzi Al Dahami, and Adressi, the multiple Saudi Olympian, takes the first maximum point score of the Middle Eastern Sub-League of Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Arab League. Ramzi Al Dahami, Adressi, victorious. David Ville's In a Dream 2nd. Abdullah Shabatli, Bokman's Lord Petsy Jr. 3rd. Ioli Mittelenu is 4th. Gerfried Pook 5th, all with double clears. Then we have our 6th place finisher, was Sergio Neutmann Jr. That was from the 2nd round. Sergio was the only rider to have a rail in the 2nd round. And Billy Toomey electing not to start, so he will finish in 7th place. Then we go back to our 4 falters from the 1st round, including Gaudiano, Skribik of Palestine, Desmonts of France, Christian Alman, Ali Al-Kharafi from Kuwait, Kamal Abdullah Bahamdan, all on 4 faults. And, you know, Ali Al-Kharafi, Kamal Abdullah Bahamdan being so close together, 300ths, but there will be a points difference for that in terms of the World Cup points those 2 riders pick up here tonight. Of course, we play it all out again at a slightly bigger level next weekend in the 5-star World Cup week here at Jump Saudi. We'll see what change that makes to the points. But Ramzi, who came here as leader of the standings at the moment, will consolidate his position as we get ready for the award ceremony, which, again, as I said, a very, very good result for the Saudi Arabian Equestrian Federation, and His Highness here to make the awards, and he will be presenting, first of all, to the series leader, Ramzi Al Dahami.
Ramzi Al Dahami, congratulations with this amazing victory with Adressi. A wonderful 2nd round, so fast, and getting victory. Your first words.
First of all, I'm very happy to give this victory to the crowd who came and supported us, and actually they gave me a motivation, and I had to give it my all. And my horse today was on the form, and she really felt great. And I just, you know, like I said, take it 1 point at a time. But she's a fast horse. She just started doing this level, and now I feel that she's ready for the next step.
As we said earlier, you took some points already on the 3 legs in Morocco. Now you took the victory here in Riyadh. You go over, of course, to next week for the 5-star World Cup, and the goal is Basel.
The goal is Basel, of course, and now this gives me a little bit good push in the front. And of course, next week I'm going to ride my other mare, the main mare, and then we will also try to go again. And we just, like I said, let's take it one leg at a time. The goal is Basel, and I'm very happy to do this at home as well.
Thank you so much, and one more time, congratulations. Mabruk.
Thank you, shukran, thank you.
Mabruk indeed, and lovely to hear there that Ramsey, his consistent and positive form so far, is very much part of a campaign to go to the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup finals in Basel in Switzerland in the end of the spring season. So Ramsey, congratulations to him over these 2 rounds with the dressé, the fastest double clear in 43.56. He ended up taking victory by 2/3 of a second over team manager David Will, and then it was very close between David and teammate Abdullah Al-Shabatli for podium result here in Riyadh. So stay with us. We have the award ceremony coming up here in just a few moments' time from the Jump Saudi Arena, as we're prepared to recognise our top 3 in the first of the region's FEI Jumping World Cup qualifiers of the season. And privileged that we will be in the presence of His Highness Prince Abdullah bin Fahad bin Abdullah Al Saud, Chairman of the Saudi Arabian Equestrian Federation, for the awards, and how appropriate that one of the Saudi Olympians should take ultimate victory. His team manager and 2 of his Olympians on behalf of the Saudi Arabian Equestrian Federation complete the entire podium. Such a good class, Yoli Metilenu, Gerfried Puck, both with their Olympic horses coming in and jumping double clear. Sergio Neutmann Jr. very much becoming one to watch. It's another world ranking top 10 for Sergio with us this week at Jump Saudi. And Billy Toomey's chatbot ED electing not to jump in the second round tonight. So what does that mean looking forward to tomorrow night's 4-star Grand Prix that will conclude our sport program for week 1 of 2 of Jump Saudi. Just behind those 7 we had Gaudiano of Italy with a very, very fast 4 faults, hoping that might have taken him in on the 25% rule. Igor Skrubik of Palestine, and Marie Desmonts, another rider in good form here, riding for France, taking top 10 in the World Cup qualifier. Stay with us, we've got the awards still to come. Just as we stand by for awards, just looking out across this fantastic facility here, all permanent as well, built specifically for Jump Saudi, the whole entertainment and trade stand zone down there beyond the big screen end of the arena, the permanent tribunes and VIP area and jury box, all making this a really, really great place for everyone, from the public spectators, our honoured guests, and of course the riders and their horses here. Looked after in royal style, and in terms of transport into the region as well, just incredibly close to the airport, so any horses that have flown in have had a very quick and easy journey into the immaculate stabling here at Jump Saudi 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our prize
coming through the arch now, our prize winners for the first Regional World Cup qualifier of the season. The path to the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Finals in Basel is very much on and open. Adressi, Ramzi El Dahami, already the leader of the standings after the legs held during the Morocco Royal Tour and the North African Sub-League, now takes maximum points here today ahead of team manager, German Championship rider and President's Cup winner in the UAE this spring with Zinedine David Wilf, and taking third place, Abdullah Al-Shabatli, Abdullah and Bockmans Lord Petsy Jr., all double clear and all within an ace of each other time-wise, just under 2 seconds separating our whole podium here tonight for the World Cup qualifier. The biggest money class of the weekend, our Grand Prix tomorrow, for just over 100,000 euros with nearly 165,000 euros total prize fund on tonight's World Cup.
So now we invite up onto the podium in reverse order. In third place, Abdullah Al-Shabatli.
ندعو الآن للصعود لمنصة تتويج أرينا قفز السعودية، الفارس السعودي في المركز الثالث عبد الله الشربتلي.
In second place, David Will from Germany.
وندعو أيضا المركز الثاني دافيد ويل وألمانيا إلى الصعود إلى المنصة.
And to take that top spot on the podium from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Ramzi Al Duhami.
وإلى بطل الشوط المتر و55 سنتيمتر.
Ramzi being invited to dismount and take his place on the top step of the podium. Jump Saudi in its fourth year now, 24 different nations represented amongst the starting field of 2- and 4-star show jumping. And of course, also for the first time, welcoming international dressage as part of the FEI World Challenge. Abdullah Al-Shabatli, David Will on the third and the second spots, and Ramzi El Dahami steps up to the top step of the podium here on behalf of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Abdullah bin Fahad bin Abdullah Al Saud will congratulate our winners in third place.
Chairman of the Saudi Arabian Equestrian Federation, His Highness Prince Abdullah bin Fahad bin Abdullah Al Saud, congratulates Abdullah Al Shabatli on his third place finish initially. Prince Abdullah and the Saudi Federation, incredible supporters of the development of the sport in the region, not least with the hosting, which Prince Abdullah was very much present at, of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Finals for the first time in the country, in the region this spring, alongside the FEI Dressage World Cup Finals, and that's another big part of development of the sport, that sport in the region and in the nation, that has seen the FEI World Dressage Challenge come here to Jump Saudi as well. His Highness congratulates multiple Olympic medalist as well, Ramzi Al-Dahami, taking maximum points today in the Middle Eastern Sub-League of FEI World Cup jumping, and that will consolidate his lead in those standings, having picked up points previously during the World Cup series during the 3 weeks of jumping on Morocco Royal Tour in North Africa.
For congratulating our winners, the chairman of the Saudi Arabian Equestrian Federation.
صورة الثرية لإبقاء الذكرى خالدة وأجمل الذكريات للفرسان الأبطال وصاحب السمو الأمير عبد الله بن فهد بن عبد الله Al Saud.
Group photo there including Ali Al Saleh, president of the technical committees at the Saudi Arabian Equestrian Federation, with our 3 podium finishers here this evening in the World Cup qualifier.
So now our riders will rejoin their wonderful horses for the traditional lap of honour. We do hope you stay to give them a huge round of applause as they make their way around this wonderful stadium.
نطلب الآن من أبطال هذا الشوط العودة إلى جيادهم وارتفاع صهوات جيادهم استعدادا لجولة النصر. يستحقون منا جميعا التصفيق والإشادة. حضورنا الكرام جمهور قفز السعودية.
3 fantastic horses as well there in the form of Adresse for Ramzi Al-Dahami, Zinadream for Davidville, and Bokman's Lord Petsy Jr. for Abdullah Al-Shabatli. Not ignoring the 2 Olympic combinations of Ioli Mitilenu and Gerfried Puk, who ended up also being double clear for 4th and 5th here tonight. How does the Grand Prix play out tomorrow night here at Jump Saudi to conclude week 1? We can't wait to find out. We hope you'll join us then. But tonight, consolidating and increasing his lead in the World Cup standings, on his way potentially to Basel to the finals. It is Ramzi Al-Dahami victorious here in the World Cup qualifier during week 1 at Jump Saudi. Thanks for joining us.
And in third, Abdullah Al-Shabatli with Bokman's Lord Petsy Jr.
رمزي الدهامي بطل شوط على المتر و55 سنتيمتر من بطولة قفز السعودية بالتصنيف العالمي 4 نجوم. دافيد ويل وألمانيا في المركز الثاني. عبد الله الشربتلي الفارس السعودي في المركز الثالث.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's coming again all on his own. Let's give him a big round of applause. Your winner, Ramzi Al-Dahami.
مرة أخرى بطل شوط المتر و55 رمزي